Good morning, friends. My name is Michelle. This is my kitchen. Welcome. Today I am canning green beans. And so what I've done is I've spent 3 different days this week picking green beans. And then just to save them over till I have enough for canning, I put them in a Ziploc baggie, not washed, along with a paper towel to absorb any moisture that might be in there. And then when I have enough, I put them together to can. There's a little bird on my windowsill. And so what I'm doing now is washing the beans. The last picking I did was right after it rained. And so there was a lot of dirt and, mud splash up. And so they're pretty dirty. So I'm going to pull you down closer so you can see. Okay, so this is my bowl of beans that I've picked. I've got another bowl here that after I go through them and check them for blossoms and grass and dirt, I just put them in this bowl. This bowl, I've just got a little bit of water in so that when I find a blossom or a piece of grass or something, I can just rinse my fingers off and then I can take this outside and dump it, and I don't have that grass and those blossoms going down my kitchen drain. And so I'm going to go ahead and keep washing. I do feel like green beans is one of the easiest things to pressure can. The second easiest, oh goodness, I don't know. I think dry beans and I think chicken or any kind of meat is also pretty easy. But I feel like any one of those three is a good beginner pressure canning activity or experience. Pressure canning can be intimidating. For some, it can be very scary. There are some old horror stories of pressure canners, building up pressure and exploding. And the way things are made these days, I honestly have not heard of anyone having any trouble since I've been canning. I've been canning for 30 years. So, okay, so that one just had some grass on it. I pulled it off. It does have a little bug bite right there. I'm going to get rid of that piece. The way I do my green beans is a raw pack. Some people cook their beans first. I just encourage you to, research FDA guidelines, go to the ball canning website. That one's got a bug bite too. There's a blossom. Find out, do some research, figure out what you're comfortable with. If you have a pressure canner, which green beans do need to be pressure canned, I think they can be water bathed if they're in like a vinegar solution. I'm not completely sure on that one. You'd have to look it up and see. And anyway, find what you're comfortable with and try it out. So I'm going to keep washing beans, and then I will bring you back when it's time to put these in jars. I do, like I said, I do a raw pack. So once they're washed, I jar them up. And so I'll see you back in a few minutes. Okay, friends, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to leave the camera down low to show you. I am using pint size jars with a wide mouth. And I prefer that for green beans just because I feel like I can get my hand in there and pack them down a little bit better. So I'm going to put in, I don't know, about not quite half a jar. I'm going to put in a little water just because that helps me get them packed down with fewer air bubbles, because I want this jar full of beans, not full of air. Oh, I thought I just saw a piece of grass. So it is not going to hurt me if I miss a piece of grass or miss a green bean blossom. But I mean, I don't want those in my finished product, but if they are, it's not a big deal. Okay, I'm going to keep packing, getting those in there as tight as I can. I'm going to add a little bit more water. This part is kind of time consuming because I want them packed as tight as I can possibly get them. And I'm going to fill them pretty close to the top. Okay, there we go. I'm going to top it off with water, just a little bit more. I want the water to be, whoops, I'm too high, to be right here at the bottom of the rim of the, where you put the ring on, okay? I'm not sure what you would call that, maybe the shoulder of the jar. But that's first jar down, a lot more to go. So I'm going to keep packing jars and then I will show you what's next. Okay, I have my jars full of beans. I ended up getting, well, I think 16 will fit in the canner, and I still have lots of beans. So I will show you my second favorite way of preserving beans. All right, so to my jars, I'm going to add half a teaspoon of salt. Now, this half teaspoon of salt is not for the sake of preservation. It is for the sake of flavor, okay? So if you don't do salt, don't add salt. That would be okay. I'm going to wipe the rims of my jars, make sure I don't have any salt on the edges or any little pieces of grass or anything else. If I was doing something with sugar or with grease, you know, like canning meat, then I would use a soapy water to wipe the rims, but this, I'm just going to use water for this, or a wet paper towel. Okay, I'm going to put on a clean, brand new flat and a rim or ring. The rings can be reused. The flats really should not be. Now, I know that my canner is stackable. So I can fit, I think, up to 19 jars if I'm using a regular mouth jar because they're smaller. But with wide mouth jars, it doesn't hold quite as much. So I'm going to bring you over to here. Whoops. All right. Okay, so I've already got 8 jars inside the canner. I need to add some water to this and some vinegar, so let me get that started. Now, the one difference between water bath canning and pressure canning is water bath canning, the jars have to be covered like even an inch above cover with water to get a good seal. With pressure canning, it's all with pressure, and so you don't have to have as much water. Let's see, where's my vinegar? And I'm going to add some vinegar. And what the vinegar does, it just keeps from water deposits settling on the jars. It also has nothing to do with the preservation of the green beans or making the jar seal. But I'll show you, this particular jar went through a canner without vinegar because I forgot. And these other jars, look how clear they are. And so when we're finished, they will be clear like that. I don't know that this one will go back to being clear, but it doesn't hurt the food any. Okay, so I'm going to put in some water. Now I'm putting in enough water to come up halfway on the bottom row of jars. Okay, I'm going to get some more water. Need a little more. I'm going to go ahead and put in my splash of vinegar while I'm thinking of it. I don't want to forget that part. I don't know, probably a couple tablespoons. I never measure it. I just dump it in. Okay, let's see. All right, I'm going to bring you over and let you see this up close. Okay, You can see that my water is just about a fourth of the way up on the jars. And so I'm going to add some more. Okay, that's good. Now, because I remember I said this is a stackable canner, so I'm going to put a, I don't know what this is called. This plate with holes in it, a rack, I guess, on top of those jars. Just set it right on top. Then I'm going to take my other jars and set them on top of that rack. Okay. Okay, there we go. It's full. Now, one thing I want to mention is whenever you are canning, whether it is pressure canning or hot water bath canning, you need to pay attention, something bit me, to the temperature of your water. These beans are cold. I filled them with cold water, so the water going into my canner also needs to be cold. If you put cold beans into hot water, or I'm sorry, cold jars into hot water, you're going to break your jars, or you could break your jars. And the opposite holds true. If you put, let's see, what did I say? Cold jars into hot water. If you put hot jars into cold, I think you know what I mean. Your temperature needs to be close to the same. All right, I'm going to turn this on high because I want it to get hot pretty quick. And I'm going to put my lid on. This particular canner, the lid locks into place by twisting it. And I'm going to let this heat up. It's going to take quite a while. Right now, it is straight up 9 o'clock. So I will let you know how long it takes. What I'm looking for is for this to heat up and to start venting. And I'll show you what venting looks like. But venting is where there is a steady stream of steam coming out of this vent that's in the top of the lid. And we want it to vent for 10 minutes. So when that happens, I will bring you back to show you. And I'll, in the meantime, I'm going to take you back over. I need to get a few things ready first, but I'm going to take you back over and show you the other way that I like to preserve beans. Okay, the other way that I like to preserve beans is by freezing. And so, and I cook the frozen beans very differently than I do the canned green beans. So the canned green beans, seeing some things I missed in here. The canned green beans, I will put on the stove in a sauce pot, add some bacon fat, some salt and pepper, and I will let those cook for a short time. Well, sometimes a long time. Depends on what else I'm cooking. But the frozen beans, I like to put into a skillet, again with a little bit of bacon fat, but in a hot skillet. And so basically I'm blistering the beans. And then I throw in a little bit of butter and some fresh garlic, and whew, they're tasty. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is finding more grass and blossoms. Get off of there. Okay. And I want these beans to be dry before I freeze them. Okay, let me get that out of the way. All right, so I'm going to lay them out here on this towel and just kind of pat them dry a little bit. Another piece of grass. Oops, there's some beans in the sink. Okay. All right. They don't have to be completely dry, but I do like to kind of pat them dry. I don't want water standing in my baking sheet. Okay, so what I'm going to do next, and beans are like Velcro. They stick to towels and your socks and your gloves and anything fabric. Okay. All right. I'm going to lay my clean towel out on a baking sheet. Okay. Can you see what I'm doing? Bring it closer. And I'm going to take these beans that I've just patted dry and lay them out on the baking sheet. I probably, I might divide these into 2 baking sheets because there's quite a bit here. So my goal for preserving beans each summer is to preserve, whether by canning or freezing, 52 packages or jars. Okay. So here in our house, it's just me and my husband. We're empty nesters. And I want to have at least 1 portion of green beans for each week of the year. And we eat lots of other vegetables too, but we try to do green beans once a week. Green beans are my absolute favorite green vegetable. Next in line is asparagus and then broccoli. I think I'm going to put, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to do 2 baking sheets. Okay. They're not quite in a single layer, but they're close. All right. So I'm going to I'm just going to drape this towel over here just so it's not hanging out over the edge. And then this is going in my freezer. So let's go do that. See if I can do that and hold the camera. Turn you around though. Okay, let's walk to the freezer. See my messy house. All right. Use my elbow, turn on the light. And use the camera hand to turn on to open the freezer. Yes, this is a very full, very messy freezer. Okay, I'm just going to set this up on top. Okay, just like that. I'm going to go get a second tray ready. I think what I have left will fit on a smaller tray. And then we'll get that put in the freezer. Okay, I've got just a smaller baking sheet. Let me find another towel. I like these cloth. They're similar to like a flour sack towel. These are my favorites. All right, lay that out. I'm going to transfer these beans over to this baking sheet. This one I'll put into our refrigerator freezer just because it's smaller, and you saw how full that other freezer was. Now, these won't be ready to package up until quite a bit later today because I want them to be frozen solid, or I might do it tomorrow. So I will bring you back to see the rest of this when I actually do package up these beans, but it may be tomorrow when I do that. I know for you it'll be a few seconds, but we'll see how it goes. Of course, them being in on 2 pans rather than all of them on 1, they'll freeze faster that way. Now, go back to what I was talking about with how many vessels of beans to prepare for the year. I also, if I have enough beans, which judging by the looks of my plants, I'm sure that I will probably do some quarts also. That way, if we have company, I can pull out a quart of beans. It's often that our kids come to eat with us, and so that will be helpful. And then I want to try something new this year. I have eaten dilly beans and loved them, but I've never made them. And so if I have enough beans, after I hit my goal of 52 pints whether canned or frozen. And then I'll probably do at least 1 canner load of quarts. That would be, I think it holds 7 quarts. And after that, if I have enough beans, I want to do some dilly beans and try to make those myself. And then whatever's left, I'll either just keep canning and freezing, probably gift some to family and friends, and we'll see how it goes, because I have a lot of beans planted out there. Probably way more than what we need, but that's okay. It's a good bean year. Last year was not a good bean year. I don't think I got any beans last year. I know I didn't can any, because what I have left from canning is from 2 years ago. So I'm ready for a good bean year. Okay, I will bring you back when it is time to check out the venting. Okay, it is venting. I'm going to set the timer for 10 minutes, and it is 9:52, so it took 52 minutes to get up to that point. Okay, I'll see you in 10 minutes. All right, guys, it has been an hour and a half since we shut this canner off. And yes, I look hot. I have been in the garden, so I thought while that is coming down in pressure, I'm going to go out in the garden. I weeded a couple of my raised beds. I planted some more beans, some pumpkins, some gourds, and I now have and some more patty pan squash. And so I now have 1 full 4x8 raised bed that I could plant something in. It had a volunteer potato come up in it. That was where I had my leeks and onions. And I went ahead and dug that potato, and look here. Unfortunately, I speared every one of them with the potato fork. And so we will have to eat those up probably tonight, maybe tomorrow. I also went and checked out the wild blackberries that we have growing nearby, and got this little handful, and didn't even have to go into the briar patch. Those were on the outside edge, so I was able to get those easily. So I think probably this evening, if it's not raining, or tomorrow, I'm gonna see if my husband will mow me a path around those, and I'll go pick some more blackberries. And so let's check this canner and see if the pressure has come down. I'm sure it has, because it typically takes about an hour. And I'll show you how I check that. And so I take a wooden spoon and I poke this thing. And if there's no jiggle with it, no shushing sound, then I know that the pressure has come down. But it is still extremely hot. So I'm going to use my oven mitt to take that off. Grab my other oven mitt. All right. Let me get the camera down a little closer so you can see. All right, here we go. Ooh, look at all that steam. It is still screaming hot. All right, I'm gonna put this in the sink. Okay, now I can go ahead and take these out, or I could let them just sit and cool. I'm gonna take them out. I have set up over, oh, do you hear that pop? That's one of the jars sealing. I have set up a table. Let me show you. Oh, there's another pop. So my kitchen is fairly small, and here at the end of the countertop, which I can show you my kitchen, messy, yes, lived in, yes. And then over here, I have my coffee bar, which is kind of under construction. I'm not finished with it yet. But here I just bought a little 4-foot folding table because when it gets to be canning season and food preservation time, it fills up in here fast. And so here on the end of the table, I've got my crock of sweet pickles going. We're just on day, let's see, Wednesday, Thursday. We're on day 3 of those. And so they go for 14 days. And each day Well, once you get past day 7, there's something you have to do with them every day. Day 1 through 7 is they just sit, and they're in a salt brine. And so I think I have a video showing how to make those. And I may have said it earlier in this video that I would connect that one. I can't remember, but I will if, I think I do. Okay, what am I looking for? Okay. I'm going to lay a couple dish towels out on that table. Because like I said, these jars are screaming hot. I don't think I need that yet. I'm going to wear my oven mitts. I'm going to grab another towel. Might be just better to let them cool in the canister, or in the canner, but I'm not going to. Okay. So look at those green beans. Delicious, right? So one at a time. I might be able to get 2 at a time. I'm going to bring them over and put them on that little table, and they will sit there for a minimum of 24 hours. And that just ensures that the jars have cooled and they have sealed. And then I will label them and I will put them in the pantry. So anyway, I will be back with you either later today or tomorrow to show you the frozen green beans and give you an idea of what I do with those. And until then, I'll see you in a little bit. All right, I'm going to try to hold the camera and do this at the same time. The timer's getting ready to go off, so it is time to add our weight. And this is the weight that came with my pressure canner. You can see it has 5, 10, and 15. I want to pressure can at 10 pounds of pressure. So I'm using an oven mitt. It scares me to put this on there. There we go. Okay, shut the timer off. All right, now we wait for this to jiggle. So we're sitting at 10:03, so we've been at this for an hour. Once this starts to jiggle, I will then start the timer. And I need to look up, in the meantime, I'm going to look up, I can't remember how long beans have to pressure for. So I'll be back with you shortly. All right, friends, do you hear the jiggle? So now we can set our timer for 20 minutes. According to my Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving, pints need to process at my elevation 10 pounds of pressure for 20 minutes. So I'm going to set the timer for 20. I'm also going to turn the heat down a little bit. It does not have to be a constant jiggle in that 20 minutes. It can be even as low as 3 or 4 times in the per minute in the 20 minutes. So we're going to let this go for 20 minutes, and then I will bring you back when it's finished. Okay, so the timer's getting ready to go off in about 30 seconds, and so what I'll do at that point is I just turn the burner off. It's going to take a while for the pressure to come down enough that we can actually open this up. You do not open this until the pressure is completely down. That is where some injuries or terrible accidents could happen. I did want to say, from the end of venting to the first jiggle just took 10 minutes. And so there's the timer. Okay. Shut that off. And now we wait. So it's been jiggling for 20 minutes, and I'll bring you back when it is time to actually open this up. Now the green beans will still be screaming hot when you do get to open it, but like I said, we just have to wait for that pressure to come down. So see you in a bit. Okay, friends, it is the next morning and it is time to package up these frozen green beans. Now, I could have taken care of them last night, but I just worked really hard and long in the garden and was too tired. And so I'm going to show you how I do this. And then at the end, I'll show you how many bags I got from these beans. I did check all 16 pints of green beans and they all sealed, and so this afternoon I can wipe those jars down. I always like to wipe my jars down before I put them in the pantry, and I can take the rings off because I don't store my canned goods with rings, and we'll get those put away. And I will probably be picking beans again this evening or tomorrow. So let me put the camera down so you can see what I'm doing, and we'll get started. So I am using a 2-cup measure. 2 cups seems to be a good amount for my husband and I. We'll eat that with our dinner, and then there's usually just enough left over for him to take in his lunch the next day. So I'm going to get these in here. This is a nice activity to do when it's hot outside because these beans are frozen and nice and cold. Okay, so there we go. Now this is not a freezer bag. I'm going to squish as much air out of it as I can. So I will be placing these inside of another bag. So I'm going to double bag these. Let me show you how I'm going to do that. Now this one is a freezer bag. I just happen to not have any quart-sized freezer bags. So what I'll do is I'll just lay all of these in here like that, put that in the freezer, and then I can pull one out when I need to. So what is your favorite way to eat green beans or preserve green beans? Let me know in the comments. Oop, there's a blossom I missed. I'll get that off of there. So it looks like I'm probably going to end up with maybe 4 bags because I've got another tray in the freezer. All right, and into the bag they go. And I like to do this with carrots also, except with the carrots, I don't put them in little bags. I put, well, first of all, the carrots I peel and I blanch, whether they're homegrown or store-bought. I do both of those because they're a root vegetable. And I feel like root vegetables can pick up bad bacteria from the soil, and since I grow my root vegetables in soil that has manure mixed in, I definitely want to wash those well. So my carrots I peel, well, I wash, I peel, I wash, then I blanch, and then I freeze on a tray like this. But the carrots I put all into one bag. And then I'm able to just pull out what I need, because we don't eat a lot of cooked carrots. I put them in stir fry, chicken pot pie, and soup, and that's pretty much it. Okay, I gotta get the other tray out. Okay, it looks like I'm going to get 5 bags. That's exciting. So let's see, that puts us up to 21 vessels of my goal of 52. So we're getting there. Okay, I'm going to get the rest of these into this last bag. I'm not going to measure this last batch. I know there's more than 2 cups there, but not enough for a second bag of 2 cups. So this bag will just have some extras. Just like that, we are finished with this batch of beans. Okay, I'll get these sealed up and put back into the freezer. Double bagging just helps them to not get freezer burnt. So that's why I like to do that. So friends, I'm so glad you came along with me while I was canning and freezing this week's picking of green beans. So I will see you on the next video. Bye.